Don't forget the bat. Wait.
The stones?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's out. You forgot the back though.
What are you raising the money for?
Mutual aid. We get food for our unhoused neighbors.
I think you've got the shirt. It says "Punch Proud Boys," but then it says "I love Proud Boys."
Well, it's really two different Proud Boys.
Oh, okay.
Always punch Nazis.
Okay.
Always punch Nazis.
Okay.
Always.
So
That's why our grandfathers went to a war for, to punch Nazis. So always punch Nazis.
you're saying the Proud Boys are Nazis?
Yeah, they align themselves with the Nazis.
So do you love Russia and China?
So the countries are beautiful. The people who run them are evil.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The governments of those countries.
Governments are evil. Very horrific.
So then why are you falling for their disinformation campaigns?
Why do you think I'm falling for their disinformation campaigns?
It's them that's telling you that you shouldn't wear a mask.
No, I'm not wearing a mask based on Dr. Fauci giving contradictory reports. There's also medical evidence that demonstrates that they don't actually secure people.
Evidence is coming from China and
Nope.
Russia. It is them fabricating it.
What proof do you have?
And
What proof do you have?
it is the Russians and the Chinese.
What proof do you have? I'll ask a second time. You have no proof because there is none. So aren't you falling for their propaganda then? You are. You're falling for their propaganda. Why are you falling for theirs?
It is the Russians and the Chinese.
Uh-huh.
I know it is them.
So
Why
what-
would they not want to fuck with us?
They want to go after everybody, but why are you falling for their
They're
propaganda?
always trying to fuck with us. They're always trying to
Okay.
steal our intellectual property. I mean,
Yes,
why
they
would
are.
not want to get 600.
So you've gone from intellectual property to masks. It doesn't sound like you understand the issue.
Why would they not want to get 6 million Americans killed?
Okay, we have 600,000 who've died, I believe, from COVID around the world. I'm not sure about in the United States.
6 million in the United States have died.
So tell me, why are you falling for their propaganda? I got to ask this question. So let's change the subject. Do you think that the United States is a systemically racist country?
It can be, yeah.
Okay, what do you mean it can be?
The legal system is oftentimes unfair.
Hey, did you hear about what happened to this lady? She went into a store just to use the bathroom, and they arrested her for trespass, even though she wasn't wearing a mask, when initially they held her in restraint because of the mask. That's pretty unjust, don't you think?
I did not say that it's not unjust to everyone. I just said that
I see. So it's okay to arrest somebody for not wearing a mask? Really?
in that circumstance, no.
So it's not okay. You agree with that?
Yes, it is horribly. We
Fair
have a
enough.
terrible police state.
So you would agree that
There
the
is
system
so
needs to
much
change?
wrong with America. I think that we are the greatest country on earth.
Okay.
But we have a long way to go.
Okay,
And-
so you're saying the country is systemically racist?
yes, and we can fix that though.
What's your proof for this?
We wrongfully convict people of color at a much higher rate.
What about
I
people
don't
who
know
are
off the top of my head.
white? Doesn't that matter too? If a white person is wrongly convicted, isn't
Oh, yes,
that
of
wrong
course it
too?
does. No, I would much rather let 10 guilty people
Go free?
than-
Okay, so why are we only focusing on people of color? That's racist.
because it happens more to them than it
Okay,
does.
so there are more black people in prison than there are brown, Hispanic, or is that correct?
Yes, and the point is that I'm making this.
Why are there more black people in prison?
Because black and brown
What I was
people are
saying-
more so over-policed. Why do you have to record it?
I'm allowed to record. It's a public place.
No, I'm asking you how come you came over here just to record us?
So I'm allowed to confront. I see John 8:7. That's
I'm dancing a little bit
No,
fast.
no, but I'm just wondering, I'm just asking you personally why you felt the need to come over here just to instigate.
asking questions is not instigating. Confronting issues is not instigating.
But you are
Testing and trying to understand where people come from is not instigating. He actually accused me of following Russian and Chinese propaganda. He just made that judgment on a trace.
Actually,
And I challenged
I
it.
think he's right here.
So you did say that.
It's all right. Yeah, I believe
So,
that your point
you
is
started
valid,
with
that you
me.
have the right to record and to have free speech.
Okay.
I don't think
Boy.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Right.
All
I
right.
don't think that you're being.
So, I have another question.
They have a problem with us talking here, so if you wouldn't mind.
I have another question. Could someone tell me why John 8 verse 7 is on this egg? What's that verse?
Aren't you Catholic? Don't you know?
What is it?
You're Catholic. Don't you know that?
How do you know?
Devout.
Catholic. I'm not Catholic.
You're not Nick Taurus?
I'm sorry?
You're not Nick Taurus?
No.
Okay, I was told that you're
That's
Nick
very
Taurus.
strange. So John 8:7. I can't remember. What is it? I know that's the passage where there was the adulterer. He without sin cast the first stone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think people are born in the wrong? Do you think people are born in the wrong body?
I do.
What evidence do you have for this?
Intersex people, they have both genders.
But that's not transgender. That's different. Now I understand there's intersex. I
They
do.
have to choose. They have
So
to choose.
not necessarily, because sex is not determined just by the secondary characteristics. It's also the genetics. So that's wrong.
Okay.
Science. I believe in science. You don't believe in science?
Also, like, why do
Do
you
you
care?
love
Why
your
does
smirk?
it matter
I
to
just
you?
got
I got two people talking. So, okay, what was funny? What's funny? What's funny?
your attitude, man. You are hilarious.
Well, thank you.
You're hilarious.
Actually, I'm a Sagittarius, but thanks for playing.
Okay, whatever.
So you actually believe that people can switch?
Somebody else. I don't know.
Okay, say it again.
Sorry, you actually kind of remind me of like Steve Crowder almost.
Oh, okay.
you
So,
want
and we talk, and so, you know, if I'm wrong, change my mind, that sort of a thing?
Do you want to talk away from here? Because I think that they're kind of not.
And you're
They're.
not dinosaur existed? You're not dinosaur existed?
You're not making any sense. Are you trying to make fun of me? Because it's not working. Wow, that's kind of, you sound disturbed. You seem unhappy.
I'm just pretending to
Well,
be
you
a
don't,
right
oh,
now.
you don't know the difference between male and female? Is that why you're confused?
I think you're
With the,
Okay.
Here's my take on it.
Okay.
It costs you nothing to call them whatever gender they feel like.
It doesn't, you say it doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
Actually, it costs you a lot.
Sorry, it
Every
doesn't cost
time that you're not honoring biological fact, it corrupts the community. It corrupts the culture, it corrupts the language.
you- Who gives a shit? Like really?
Who does? I do. They do. You know what? I spoke to a lady whose mother went into a bathroom with men. It costs her. Oh yeah.
Who the fuck gives a shit? I don't care about.
She does.
Okay, co-ed bathrooms. They exist. It does.
That doesn't make it right. There's evil in the world. It doesn't mean we should settle for it. With that kind of an attitude, should we just allow a vaccine passport to treat us like cattle too? I don't think so. We don't have to settle. That's why you're here. You're here because you don't want to settle.
Have you ever traveled internationally?
Yes, I have. I've been to France. I've been to the United
Alright, so
Kingdom. I've been to Canada,
Okay, so
Mexico.
Did you get vaccinations to travel?
No,
Never.
no. I was vaccinated as a child because those were. I didn't get chicken pox, or I got chicken pox, but not smallpox, and I didn't get the German measles, and I was okay with that. But I wasn't required to. It should be a choice. Should not be forced. Now you still haven't answered my question. Do you? Because she wouldn't answer me. Do you really believe there's more than two sexes?
Sexes? No.
You believe there's two sexes?
So yeah, intersex. Yeah, 3.
Intersex is not a sex. It is a physical deformity.
And even Caitlyn Jenner says it.
I don't.
Bruce, not Caitlyn. Bruce. He.
Bruce Jenner. That's also another thing. He also says
Well, their
it.
legal name is Caitlyn, so.
I don't care. I'm not going to honor a delusion. That harms me. It
Alright,
does.
So, do you call your mom by her maiden name still then?
My mother's dead.
All right. When
Yeah.
she was alive, did you call her by her maiden name because you don't care about a legal name change?
So I call her by her married name because she married my father.
All right, but
She entered into that covenant.
but it was a name change.
Yes, but she didn't change her sex. She didn't become a man. Marriage is a very unique and important covenant. I'm glad you brought that up. And it brings up some other important implications, like I don't think this notion that people can marry whomever they want to is wise.
Why do you care what people do in the privacy of their own home?
That is an excellent question. I'm so glad you've asked that. I've wanted people. I hope someone else would ask me that question. Because it doesn't stay there. Private behavior has public consequences. The spread of venereal disease, the hurt, the harm to children. Children need a mom and a dad. Kids don't have that stable home. They become broken adults, and we have a broken society.
So would it be safe to say that you don't support sex before marriage?
I don't. It's unwise.
Okay. All right.
That's correct.
I guess I don't really have a debate for you there. That's kind of like a personal.
I'm sorry?
I don't really have a debate for you on that one.
Okay.
That's a personal choice.
I think it's very...
If I had a partner that had that opinion, I would respect it, even though that's
Okay.
not my choice.
You know, but because sex is not just... And here's something else too. Sex, it's a private act, but it has public consequences. Every person here is the product of a sexual relationship. You have a public consequence. I do. This guy does. It doesn't stay in the bedroom, buddy. It doesn't. And now this agenda is being pushed in the schools and in the public square. If I don't use the right pronouns, I get... You know, in Canada, if I use the wrong pronouns, I get fined. Did you know that? In Canada. In this country, you can go to jail for... In this state, you can go to jail for a year if you misgender somebody in a hospice or a health clinic. You think that's fair?
There's no way that's true. And even if it were...
It is true.
What's
Yeah.
the CA penal code on that?
The penal code, I don't know off the top of my head. Scott Wiener was the state senator who introduced the bill. He's from San Francisco. That much I do know.
All right, I'll give that a look.
Yeah.
If that were to be the case, I would find that extremely unfair.
You oppose it. You oppose that.
If that is true, as you say, then
Excellent. I appreciate that. I can also tell you, in Canada,
I support the right
because
of
you were
people
asking
to
me,
be assholes.
you asked me a good question, which is, why do I care what people do in private? It ain't private. It's not private when you have these pride parades where people are naked in front of children. That's not private.
I actually think that people should be modest at pride parades.
Fair enough. Let me ask you this,
I
though.
think that pride parades should exist, but within reason.
Okay.
How do you should wear kind of like what I'm wearing,
Okay.
you know, or you know what that woman's wearing over there.
Let me ask you this: Should we
What's appropriate to
should
wear
we
on
have
freedom?
parades that celebrate meth addiction?
No,
Should we have parades that celebrate marijuana addiction or marijuana use?
no.
Should we have parades that celebrate adultery?
What is the difference?
Oh my goodness, homosexual conduct harms the body. You know that, right? It's a misuse of organs, like shoving a straw up your nose or using your elbow to scratch your ears.
Not everyone does certain things that can harm the body.
Yes, they do.
Not everyone does.
And then there's mental problems and emotional problems that ensue. There's a growing community of former homosexuals and trans, especially for people who are former trans. They've cut parts off.
Former trans.
What is it?
I'm former trans.
Are you? Wow. And then you know what happens if you take the hormones to try to change your sex? You become sterile. You cannot have children.
Yes, and they warn you about that.
So that's why I don't understand this. Could someone explain this to me? The John 8 verses 7?
Help with now. What else do we need to help you with?
You want to explain that one?
Why does... So I do read the Bible.
What's the question?
He was without sin, cast the first stone. She educated me on
There
that.
you go.
Okay, I'm back. I'm giving you space. Now I want to be very clear about this. If somebody has mutilated their body, they should not be stoned. If somebody is sleeping with someone else of the same sex and it's a consensual relationship, they should not be stoned. They should not be jailed. No way. However, I don't think we should be promoting that conduct because it hurts the body. It hurts children.
That's what you can think, but that's your.
I'm not. It's not an opinion.
People to be who they want to be.
But that's not who they
They
are.
want to have the rights over
They
other
wanna do what they
individual
want.
choices, right?
You think people are born that
You
way?
wanna limit them.
So you think they're born that way?
You feel like they should be
What
limited.
level
No,
of-
Are you saying that they're
You feel
born
like
that
they
way?
should be limited?
Are you?
And how they-
Yes or no? Are they born that
should
way?
they be limited?
Are they
What's
born
your
that way?
say
Yes or
about
no?
limited?
Ask the question.
Yes or
Should
no?
their rights be limited?
You can't
Answer
answer that.
question.
You
Should
can't
their
answer
rights
that
be
without
limited?
answering mine. You will not answer mine because you think they're born that way and they're not.
Who just left here, went home, shaved off all of your
She's
hair?
not allowing me to even say words. But I am not going to be stopped.
Are you that guy that went all the way back home to shave your whole and change your whole appearance and come back?
You're changing the subject, so I'm going to ask you a third time. I will ask you a fourth time. Are people born that way or not?
What about? Are you so
Are you born that way or not? So, just for the record, as soon as you ask a serious question, are they born that way or not?
Rights be limited.
You can't answer that question without speaking to the natural issue.
Anybody else and how they were born? I can't speak on that. We can speak on
You
what we
can't.
all can have an
Interesting.
opinion on, and I'm
Okay.
asking your opinion. Should their rights be limited?
Okay, you're
Your
asking.
opinion.
When you see there, see that's a problem.
Should
No,
their
you didn't.
rights be limited?
Say your
Should
answer
anybody's
again.
rights be limited?
Say your answer.
Should anybody's rights be limited?
You can mock me, that's fine. I'm used to it.
Should anybody's rights be limited?
Okay.
You-
You know what?
That's what
Okay,
do.
you have a general
That's why we have a
question?
problem, and that's why there's no conversation to be had.
You know why? Because you're talking over me, but it's not working because I asked a question, which is, do you think they're born that way?
That's what you believe.
So I'll tell you what. So we'll try this way.
You're a fucking hypocrite. You're a fucking hypocrite.
Sounds good. I'm going to try this again. So I'll try this again.
You want
You have a question and I have a question. If you answer my question,
You asked a question about the show. How'd you get to where you're going?
because it's part of why is that
you
verse
asked
on the
one
page.
question.
I did.
Okay.
So I'll ask it again. Do you think people are born that way? You will not answer me because actually you can. If you commit a crime, your rights get limited. For example. Yep. So I answered your question there. I answered yours now. So rights can be limited. I will go back to square one. Are people born in the wrong body or are people born gay? They can't answer it.
Can I interject? I don't think they want you over here. I don't.
Well, they're allowed to talk and I'm allowed to talk. Okay, so you want me to go away
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so I don't know.
because they didn't want to answer, but you were okay talking to me.
Why are you telling me?
Oh, so now you're ordering him around? He's an adult who can speak.
Arthur, let's not poke the bear. It was such a scene last week.
Okay.
The cops were crazy. We made a pact this morning that we would leave them alone.
Okay.
Otherwise, they're going to take my sound away.
Oh, okay. And they're going to take everybody's sound away.
Right.
Okay.
So they're being super cool. Let's leave them alone.
Okay, so
I know, but